Who were the best players, the greatest players that you played with?
Well, I'm pretty easy to name them. They were much older than me, of course. I was a junior at the time. Sam Snead, Ben Hogan, Bobby Locke, and then into modern times like Jack Nicklaus, Palmer, and Tony Lima.
Peter Thomson rarely gave anyone his stamp of approval. The five-time Open champion was known for his sharp wit and even sharper criticisms, a man who viewed the game through the unforgiving lens of a purist. But there were 5 golfers who earned something rare from the Melbourne Tiger: his genuine respect. These 5 men didn't just win tournaments. They embodied the traits Thomson valued most in the game, from mechanical perfection to strategic genius, from global ambassadorship to creative artistry. Thomson stood at a unique crossroads in golf history. He began competing when hickory-era skills still mattered, and played deep into the age of power golf. Thomson believed golf was a geometric puzzle to be solved with intellect, not a physical contest to be won with brute strength. The golfers he respected shared this philosophy, even if they expressed it differently. They proved that greatness required more than trophy accumulation. It demanded substance, discipline, and a deep understanding of what made the game worthy of a lifetime's devotion. The first man who captured Thomson's admiration did so with a performance that bordered on mythological. Ben Hogan arrived at Carnoustie in 1953 for the only Open championship he would ever play. Thomson, then a rising star in his mid-20s, finished tied for second place, 4 strokes behind the American legend. But the margin of defeat mattered far less than what Thomson witnessed that week. Hogan didn't just win. He played golf at a level Thomson had never seen before, and would describe for decades afterward with a tone approaching disbelief. What mesmerized Thomson wasn't Hogan's scoring, it was his precision. Thomson later wrote that Hogan could complete 4 tournament rounds without hitting a single shot, and he had watched him do exactly that at Carnoustie. For a player like Thomson, who valued economy of motion and predictable ball flight above all else, this was the ultimate achievement. While other champions might scramble their way to victory or rely on a hot putter to save their round, Hogan's game was built on infallible ball striking. Hogan treated the Scottish links like a problem to be solved through preparation, arriving 2 weeks early to master the smaller British ball and the unique turf conditions. Thomson's fascination extended into the mechanics of the swing itself. He conducted detailed analyses of Hogan's technique, tracing the path of Hogan's hands to understand the geometry of greatness. Thomson discovered something remarkable when comparing Hogan's actual swing to the illustrations in the modern fundamentals of golf. While Hogan's book showed the hands moving down on the inside of the backswing line, Thomson's analysis revealed that Hogan's hands actually moved down above or to the right of that line. This discovery only deepened Thomson's respect. Hogan's genius lay in his physical execution, which was even more sophisticated than his own written theories suggested. The sound of impact became Thomson's signature measure of quality. Hogan's shots produced a unique crunch, a sonic signature of perfect compression that Thomson revered and sought to emulate. Beyond the technical mastery, Thomson respected Hogan's demeanor. The wee Iceman, as the Scots called him, maintained a stoic intensity that Thomson appreciated. Hogan's practice wasn't mindless repetition, but a constant series of experiments. He had dug his game out of the dirt through sheer force of will, rising from the caddy yards to prove that mechanical perfection was achievable through labor and discipline. If you're enjoying this deep dive into what made Thomson tick as a critic and competitor, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us which trait you value most in a golfer. Is it Hogan's precision, or does another quality matter more to you? Where Hogan represented the ideal of mechanics, Jack Nicklaus embodied the ideal of strategy. Thomson's respect for Nicklaus crystallized during the 1970 Open Championship at St. Andrews. Nicklaus won in an 18-hole playoff against Doug Sanders, but what captivated Thomson was a single stunning statistic. In 72 holes of golf, Nicklaus had not visited a single bunker. For Thomson, a specialist who understood the old course better than almost anyone, this was the ultimate proof of golfing intelligence. St. Andrews is defended primarily by its bunkers, placed strategically to punish greed and poor angles. To navigate the course without finding sand required not just power but profound understanding of wind, angles, and restraint. Thomson called Nicklaus the world's most accomplished golfer and admired his ability to dismantle courses through pure logic. While others saw Nicklaus's power as his defining trait, Thomson saw his mind. Nicklaus played golf like chess, a compliment once paid to Thomson himself. This shared cerebral approach created a bond despite their different playing styles. Thomson realized Nicklaus wasn't overpowering courses. He was outthinking them, using his high fade to hold firm greens and his discipline to avoid the disasters that destroy scorecards. Their relationship evolved from competitors to statesmen during the President's Cup. Thomson captained the international team while Nicklaus led the American Americans. The 1998 event at Royal Melbourne remains the only international victory, orchestrated by Thomson's intimate knowledge of the composite course. Despite intense competition, Thomson admired Nicklaus's grace in defeat, viewing it as the hallmark of a true champion. This solidified Thomson's view of Nicklaus not just as a great player but as a pillar of the game's integrity. They collaborated on issues regarding equipment and course design, sharing concern that technology threatened the strategic integrity of classic layouts. Thomson respected that Nicklaus, despite being the face of American power golf, understood the nuances of the global game. Nicklaus's 3 Open Championship victories and 7 runner-up finishes proved to Thomson that Nicklaus was a complete golfer who respected the sport's history. Thomson's relationship with Arnold Palmer was perhaps the most complex, defined by contrasting styles but converging historical importance. Thomson is often credited with keeping the Open Championship alive during the 1950s when American participation declined. However, Thomson freely acknowledged that Palmer revived the tournament's global commercial stature. When Palmer traveled to St. Andrews for the Centenary Open in 1960, he brought American media attention and the charisma that defined an era. Although Palmer lost to Thomson's close friend Kel Nagel by 1 shot, his presence changed the championship's trajectory forever. Thomson respected Palmer as a catalyst. While his own 5 Open victories were masterpieces of links golf, Palmer's participation validated the championship for modern American audiences. Thomson stated that Arnold was the folk hero of golf, not only the greatest personality the game had produced, but king of the fairways every time he played. This admission from a man who generally avoided hyperbole underscores Palmer's massive impact. Thomson understood that without Palmer, the Open might have remained a provincial event rather than the global spectacle it became. Despite admiration for Palmer's impact, Thomson and Palmer were polar opposites. Thomson was the Melbourne Tiger, a thinker who navigated courses with caution and precision. Palmer was the swashbuckler who attacked pins and hitched up his pants. Thomson once contrasted Hogan and Palmer by noting that while Hogan could complete 4 rounds without a mishit, Palmer could hardly go 3 holes without hitting one sideways. These philosophical differences extended to the business of golf. Thomson was skeptical of intense commercialization, a movement spearheaded by Mark McCormack's IMG, which built its empire around Palmer, Nicklaus, and Player. However, these differences didn't preclude deep personal respect. Thomson admired Palmer's competitive fire and his ability to will the ball into the hole. They served as opposing captains at the 1996 President's Cup, and interactions revealed warmth between them. Thomson noted they were only 2 weeks apart in age and great rivals who had wonderful times together. Upon Palmer's death in 2016, Thomson provided one of the most poignant tributes, describing Palmer as the king of the sport who united the game. Thomson's respect for Palmer was ultimately respect for vitality. Palmer represented the lifeblood of the game, the energy that fueled purses and popularity that allowed professionals like Thomson to earn a living. Palmer's ability to recover from bad shots, the very shots Thomson critiqued, showed resilience Thomson found admirable. While Thomson avoided trouble, Palmer escaped it, and Thomson respected the courage that required. If there was one golfer with whom Thomson shared spiritual kinship regarding professional lifestyle, it was Gary Player. Thomson stated that only one golfer had a comparable career, and that was world traveler Gary Player. Both men were non-Americans who refused confinement to the PGA Tour. They believed in a world tour long before the concept existed, traveling to Europe, Australia, Asia, and South Africa to promote the game. Thomson respected Player's willingness to play anywhere. This shared experience created mutual understanding about travel rigors and the champion's responsibility to grow the game globally. Where Thomson was intellectually disciplined in strategy, Player was physically disciplined in body. Thomson deeply respected Player's pioneering approach to physical conditioning, watching Player evolve into a fitness icon who maintained his game into senior years. In an era when practice meant hitting a few balls before a round, Player was meticulous about diet and exercise, performing 60 to 70 fingertip push-ups daily. Thomson saw this as another form of professionalism. Player's longevity, winning majors over 3 decades, testified to this discipline. Thomson often quoted Player's famous line that the harder he practiced, the luckier he got. One foundation of their mutual respect was the 1957 Australian PGA Championship at Huntingdale. Player defeated Thomson 2-up in a match. Player described as one of the greatest he ever played, praising Thomson as the straightest hitter he ever saw. Thomson respected Player because Player could beat him at his own game, consistency, and grit. Player's Open victories in 1959, 1968, and 1974 placed him among champions Thomson revered. They were partners in the narrative that golf was not American property, but a global game rooted in British Empire and Commonwealth traditions. The final member of Thomson's pantheon might seem surprising given his unorthodox style, but Lee Trevino embodied traits Thomson cherished deeply. Thomson was a purist who hated bomb and gouge golf. He loved players who could manipulate ball flight, keep it low in wind, and invent shots around greens. In Trevino, Trevino, Thomson found a savant of shot making. Trevino's open stance, strong grip, and fading ball flight were unconventional, yet they produced consistency rivaling Hogan. Thomson admired that Trevino, like Hogan, had dug it out of the dirt, rising from humble beginnings to dominate through talent and repetition. Thomson famously advised golfers to just go out and shoot lower scores, a pragmatic philosophy Trevino embodied perfectly. Trevino didn't have a classical swing, but he had a repetitive one that held up under pressure. Thomson appreciated that Trevino played like a street hustle, using every tool available to get the ball in the hole. Thomson admired Trevino's ability to manufacture shots. Stories of Trevino chipping with a 3-wood or hitting low runners represented the kind of golf Thomson loved, imaginative and effective. The 1971 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale was pivotal in Thomson's appreciation of Trevino. Thomson had won at Birkdale twice and considered it one of golf's finest tests. Watching Trevino capture the claret jug there, winning the US Open, Canadian Open, British Open within a month, validated Trevino as a true champion golfer in Thomson's eyes. Thomson respected that Trevino's game traveled. Trevino's low, penetrating ball flight was perfectly suited for links golf Thomson cherished. Unlike many Americans who hit the ball high and struggled in British wind, Trevino adapted instantly. Thomson saw in Trevino a player who understood the ground game, essential for earning Thomson's approval. Trevino was the Merry Mex, a non-stop talker who engaged galleries with jokes and banter. Thomson was reserved, articulate, and serious. Yet Thomson admired Trevino's competitive fire, recognizing that his chatter was a pressure handling mechanism. Thomson's respect for Trevino also linked to ball striking statistics. Trevino was widely regarded by peers, including Nicklaus and Watson, as one of the best ball strikers ever. For Thomson, the sound of Trevino's impact was a language they both spoke fluently. Trevino's 6 majors while competing against Nicklaus, Palmer, and Player confirmed to Thomson that Trevino possessed genius, transcending his unorthodox technique. These 5 men revealed the specific criteria Thomson used to evaluate greatness. Thomson was, above all, a ball-striking purist. He believed golf's essence was ball compression. His reverence for Hogan and Trevino stemmed directly from this. Their ability to control flight and spin represented the sport's highest art form. Thomson won 5 Opens by outthinking opponents, not out-hitting them. Consequently, he revered Nicklaus for course management. The fact that Nicklaus navigated St. Andrews without hitting a bunker impressed Thomson more than raw power. Thomson was a fiercely international Australian who resented US-centric views of golf history. He respected Player and Palmer because they expanded the game's borders. Player accomplished this through travel, Palmer through media, and by reviving the Open Championship. As king of the links, Thomson used the Open Championship as his primary measuring stick. All 5 men won the Open Championship by adapting games to links demands. They proved they weren't one-dimensional target golfers, but complete players handling wind, rain, and firm turf. Thomson was a professional in the truest sense. He showed up, played hard, and conducted himself with dignity. He saw this mirrored in Hogan's practice habits, Player's fitness, and Nicklaus's grace in defeat. Even Palmer's fan interaction was professional duty Thomson respected. His respect focused on substance over style. He respected Hogan's silence because it produced perfection. He respected Nicklaus's grimness because it produced strategy. He respected Palmer's wildness because it produced passion. He respected Player's obsession because it produced longevity. He respected Trevino's unorthodoxy because it produced results. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 traits resonates most with your own golf game or philosophy? Are you drawn to Hogan's mechanical perfection, Nicklaus's strategic thinking, Palmer's charismatic energy, Player's disciplined fitness, or Trevino's creative shot making? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed because we're diving deep into golf history every week. In the end, Peter Thomson respected these men because they, like him, treated golf not as a pastime but as a discipline worthy of lifelong devotion. He stood at the intersection of the Hickory era's shot-making emphasis and the Steel era's power emphasis. True greatness in golf, as Thomson proved through his life and observations, is found where character meets capability. It's that junction where these 5 men stood alongside him, earning something Thomson rarely gave: his genuine, lasting respect.